All right, guys. Good morning, and thank you for coming to Get Hired Cascade Talks. Hopefully that's where you think you are, because that's where you are. If not, we've got issues. Yeah, thanks for coming in and spending a morning with us. It's cool to see a good solid crowd on a Monday morning. It was funny, I was talking to Blaire yesterday afternoon, kind of talking about the event, and she's like, a bunch of people show up on workday that times, and I was like, yeah, they do, they come. If you build it, they will come. I was kind of thinking about that today, and little backstory, because I see a lot of new faces. It's a lot of regulars, but I see a lot of new faces, which is always exciting for someone that is, hoping people show up. That's so if anyone's ever been to kind of an event organizer thing, it's like you put all this work into it, and then you're like, please show up, please show up. It really does happen. It's a little bit scary, especially when you come in at 8 o'clock and the doors are closed and everything's blacked out here, and you're like, then this. Anyways, Get Hired Cascade Talks. What are we? Who are we? What have we done? So we are a local community group built off Meetup. A couple years ago, my friend and I were in a situation where we got told to go out and build tech, and not in the traditional sense, more of a talent sense. And we had this idea of, hey, there's got to be a better way, because I've been in recruiting and business development for over 10 years, and my thought was there's got to be a better way to connect people and jobs and businesses. There's a traditional sense of, I'm going to go out and I'm going to just apply and hope for the best. But as we've learned and as we've seen over the last 5-10 years, that's not the way it works anymore. It doesn't. You can apply to 1 million jobs. Typically, you're not going to get very much traction on any of them. That's just the way it is. You can sit there and do the easy route on LinkedIn. You can go the easy route on Glassdoor or Indeed or Monster or Dice or whatever, and click to apply. And then if you do the back end and you go further into that, then you're going to see that so did 150 other people, 200, 300, and there's one spot open. Not very good odds. So we started looking into these things, and I started to look into the stats. I'm like, you know what, something's got to change. So we developed this group, and originally it was Get Hired in Tech. Started off in a coffee shop in East Vancouver, where we had about 5 to 7 people. Anyone from that original group here? Every once in a while, yep, Steven was here. And so there's 5-7 people, and we just talked. And I said, what do you guys want? What do you want to hear? Who do you want to be here? So what we did is we sat there and developed this group. And so the idea is start to bring in speakers, people that are influential within the community, that are out there doing it. Bring job seekers in a non-traditional sense, and be candid. Say, hey, here's what you're missing, right? So the one thing that we've really started to focus in on this year is kind of raw and uncut, right? You're going to hear, and I've been in multiple industries, multiple jobs, where you're going to hear what you want to hear. They're going to tell you this, where they're going to tell you this, and everyone's going to tell you the same thing over and over and over again. I don't want that. This group is something special, and I want you guys to hear the raw and uncut version of job searching sucks. It is hard. It's not fun, and it's a full-time job that you're not getting paid for. Bottom line, it stinks. It's frustrating. You're on an emotional roller coaster because, man, I'm so close. I'm second interview, I've got in, and then all of a sudden, we're sorry to inform you that we decided to go with another candidate. It's like, what? And it sucks. Then there's the financial burden, there's family burden, there's what if I never get there. It's a nightmare. So this group is supposed to alleviate some of that pain. Maybe even be a little fun. We have returned people that keep coming back, and because it's fun. We do have a good group, and people find jobs from this group. So the thing is, what I tell you is utilize information, network with each other, spend time to get to know people. There's people within this group over the last couple of years. Now we have, start with that 7, now we're almost at 1,200 people in 2 years. It's incredible. And it started right here in Vancouver. We've got one meetup over in Portland that we do once a month, but it's a lot of local folks. We've got people on the coast, we've got people pretty much in the Northwest. We also run a podcast now that we just started. So there's people getting out and talking. But there's so many people in tech that are like, what do we do? How do we do this? Talk with people. Look around. See how many people are here. And this is a small little group here. How many people are local here in Vancouver? Right? So these are other tech folks, people in business, that know other people. You know, I could go into a whole thing, and I'm not, because we've got Blaire. I'm going to make sure she gets it. But with that said, I want to make sure everybody here, challenge you today to leave with 3 connections. And when I mean connections, I don't mean, hey, you just know their name. I challenge you, by the end of this hour and some change, to leave with 3 connections. And beyond that, I want you to leave with 3 connections that you're going to go have coffee with after this, in the next couple weeks. 3 things. That's my challenge to you today. With that said, I'm happy to introduce Blaire. Blaire, I met her a few months ago, and I saw all these things that she was doing on LinkedIn. And if you know me at all, I am a LinkedIn guru. That's what I do. I geek out over LinkedIn. It's kind of it's a weird obsession. But I sat there and saw all these amazing things that Blaire was doing, and I kept hearing this name, Blaire. I'm like, who is Blaire? And all of a sudden, I start following her. We connect on LinkedIn. I was like, oh my gosh, she is killing it out here. Moved here from Atlanta and has essentially taken the Northwest by storm. She's killing it in Portland, killing it here. Anyone that knows anything within the LinkedIn community, or even people in diversity and inclusion, all of these groups, if you say Blaire, they're like, oh yeah, we know Blaire. So she's a powerhouse. Anyways, I could go on and on. I'm going to let her do that. So thank you, Blaire, for coming and joining us this morning.
No problem. Let's first give it up for Max for creating this platform. Thank you for the setup. So now I get to talk all about myself and tell y'all all the great things, right? So for those who don't know me, my name is Blaire G. Hervey. I like to say the G is for gorgeous, the G is for gangsta, the G is for God-given talents, right? But I am the Director of Training and Sales Enablement at ZoomInfo, powered by Discover.org, which is just a 2-minute walk away. It's a data company. I have been in Vancouver, Washington for the past almost 2 years. I did move here from Atlanta, Georgia, about 30 minutes north of Atlanta in Duluth. I was born in Dallas, Texas, raised in Louisville, Kentucky, and again, like I said, I moved from Atlanta, so I'm very, very Southern. So you all will be called y'all today. And I hope it's okay, but I'm definitely going to be raw and uncut. I might cuss just a little bit. Is everybody okay with cussing? Okay, good. On a Monday morning? Excellent. But this is, I consider you all to be family because I've definitely been in your seat. I've definitely been in your shoes. And I hope that we'll be able to take this journey much further together as well. All right, is everybody okay with that? Okay. So like Max said, there are several things that I've been up to lately. Aside from being the Director of Training and Sales Enablement, well, actually with that particular role, I have about 7 or 8 direct reports, including an instructional designer and sales enablement managers who are responsible for creating resources and fun and engaging and relevant just-in-time initiatives, including trainings, for folks, particularly those in their quota-carrying roles, go-to-market roles like account executives and customer success managers, so they can go sell more of our stuff confidently, effectively, and efficiently, and often, right? Aside from that, I'm also spearheading our first global inclusion and diversity initiative. So what does that mean? We focus on the empowerment and the advancement of underrepresented minorities at our organization. So that includes women, that includes Black folks, that includes LGBTQ+ employees, that also includes veterans and those who have served in the military, and that also includes our remote employees as well as those that are in Israel. So we cater to all the folks. We love to focus on creating a sense of belonging and safe spaces so folks can come to work, they can stay, they can feel like they belong. They can also focus on readiness so they can advance and get to the next level, and that's where we definitely come in. We focus on diversity education and community outreach. So just a couple things, right? Not too much, right? So the whole goal is to make sure, my whole goal is to make sure that I'm touching folks, empowering folks, and developing them wherever I go. I'm also focused on this new topic, if you will, called making 100K without a degree. I see a couple smiles. Anyone excited about that? Is there anyone in the audience who has a degree? Okay. For those who have a degree, are you working in the field that you anticipate using your degree for? I see a couple of nods. I'm seeing a couple of nods both ways, okay? Are we making the money that we want to make? I won't ask you if you're making 100K, but are we making the money? Oh, I see a quick nose. Are we making the money that we want to make, right? In congruence with the money that we've spent on those degrees. In most cases, it's just not the case. And if you don't have a degree or those credentials, oftentimes you feel less than confident when it comes to applying for those new jobs, those new roles. I believe the statistic is about 90 to 95% of women have the tendency not to apply for a job at all if they don't feel, guess how qualified? Guess a percentage.
100.
Oh, so y'all know. Okay. Y'all want to come up here? Y'all do? But you're absolutely right. 100% qualified. Can you imagine? As opposed to men, typically, if they're taking a look at the credentials, they may read the summary. They may read the top portion thing. Look, y'all are laughing because you know it's true. Like, I can do this. I can totally do this, right? Or there may be someone that they know because a lot of these tech companies are predominantly male, right? And so you already feel an instant connection because you see someone sitting across from you who either looks like you, shares your same background, maybe y'all went to the same school, and if you do have that degree, maybe there's some relationship there. But if you're a woman or a person of color, and you don't have a degree, man, you're out here like, where do I start? And then when we're talking about that nightmare just continues to grow exponentially. But I'm here to give you some good news. Guess who doesn't have a degree? Oh, yeah. Guess who's making over 100K without a degree? You can raise your hand, I know you do. Right? So it's possible. And I don't say that to boast, I say that to tell you that it's possible. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that. Okay? And does everyone have their pen and paper? Because we're going to school this morning, all right, family? Teach you a thing or two. Get your pen and paper, I'll give you a moment. But there are 4 main things that I would say have gone into this being possible for me. And for the folks that are around me, I'm sure that the folks that are in this quote-unquote exclusive club making 100K without a degree can definitely agree with this well. There are 4 main things that have allowed us to be in these spaces. And it's not always about who you know, and sometimes, believe it or not, it's not always about what you know. It's about what you believe. So the first thing that I would say, it's about a growth mindset. Everybody say growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
Oh, y'all better stop playing with me on a Monday. Say growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
There we go. It's about a growth mindset. It's about believing in yourself. Has anyone ever heard of a fixed mindset versus growth mindset? Okay, if you haven't, do your Googles on it, I'll tell you a little bit about it. But that growth mindset is definitely about believing in yourself, believing that you can, what our CEO, Henry Schuck, always says, define new possibles. It's believing that you can achieve the unachievable. And so what I love about this, making 100K without a degree, it's not about the dollar amount, because my 100K may be your 70K, it may be your 50K, whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't know your background, I don't know where you started, but that may be yours. My 100K may be Max's 200K, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know, right? You never know. It could be your million. Whatever the case may be, the number is not important. What's important is how you define success and how you can stretch yourself to achieve that success. Everyone in this room know Kobe Bryant? R.I.P., right? Y'all know about the Mamba Mentality? Can anyone tell me what the Mamba Mentality is, or how you would define it? Anyone? What was that?
Never stop.
Never stop. You never stop believing in yourself. You don't focus on the outcome. You focus on your input. You focus on what you can control, which is you, and your effort, and your work ethic, and it'll get you there. And you believe that it'll get you there. Who in this room believes they can be a Kobe? Maybe not in basketball, y'all. Maybe not in basketball, but a Kobe, so a GOAT. Who knows what a GOAT is? G-O-A-T, that acronym, what does it stand for?
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time. In your industry, who believes they can be a GOAT in their industry? And if you're not there yet, that's okay. I feel like this side of the room needs to mingle with this side of the room now, right? It's all right, it's all love. And if you're not there yet, it's okay, and that's important. So going back to what Max said as far as connecting with people, for the folks who raise their hands confidently, and I would raise it higher, but this stress is it's restricting me, right? But they're raising their hands high, connect with those folks. Ask them, how do you have this growth mindset? Ask them about their story. A little bit about mine. So again, born in Dallas, Texas, raised in Louisville, Kentucky. My mother passed away unexpectedly when I was 12 years old. She was 9 months pregnant. She was due on that Thursday, I believe, passed away on that Tuesday. I found her cold, laying beside my 2-year-old brother in bed that morning. Changed my life. March 20th, 1996, right? And so from that day, let's see, it was March, that summer, I moved to live with my father in Louisville, Kentucky. Hadn't seen him in 6 years, y'all. Been a little while. By that time, he had started a new family. He had a couple of other children that I had to meet. I didn't like them too much at the time. I was like, I don't know y'all, right? I don't know y'all. It's my daddy, right? But it had been 6 years. And so I was completely uprooted at 12 years old. Lost my mother. I lost my hometown. I lost my stepfather at that point, who was raising me, so the only father I had ever known. I loved my friends. All of that changed in an instant when I moved to Louisville. And so in Dallas, Texas, during that time period, I thought there were like 3 ethnicities: Black, white, and Mexican, which is not quite an ethnicity, but it is. But those are the 3. That's all I ever saw. That's all I ever knew. And there was, I believe, some Indian folks that I saw. So maybe 4 types of folks. When I went to Louisville, Kentucky, I saw 2. I saw Black, living in mostly an impoverished area where I lived, in the West End, and I saw white folks. And it was definitely a culture shock, right? And it was a smaller city, and now, of course, now in hindsight, I love Louisville. It's my grassroots, right? That's where my family's from. But I knew at a young age that I had to figure out what I wanted. And I knew that whatever I wanted was still possible for me, because I had to get up out of there, right? And so I share this story with you all, not because it's, compelling or sad or whatever the case may be, but to encourage you all to remember that you have your own stories and to embrace those stories and let that be a part of your growth mindset, not a part of your fixed mindset. I can do this because I can overcome this in spite of. I am this already. It is possible. I don't need someone to tell me that. I am a goat. There is no goat gene. Have y'all heard of that? A lot of people say that Kobe, Michael Jordan, lots of other greats out there, they have a goat gene, which means they were already born great. They were born to be great. There was no one else that could achieve what they could achieve. They're right. And you know why? Because Kobe was in the gym at 5 a.m. in high school. 5 to 7 a.m. Kobe would shoot for hours. I think there was like a 4 to 6 hour workout that he had at one point. And he was focused on hitting 800 shots. 800 shots. No one else was willing to do that. That's the difference. You have to be willing. Okay? So 1 is that growth mindset if you want to get there. 2 is grit. And that last point kind of bleeds into grit. And if you've listened to my podcast, who's listened to the Making 100K Without a Degree podcast? If you haven't, it's on LinkedIn. You'll be able to find it, Blaire G. Hervey. But take a listen. I talk a lot about grit. Again, it is passion and it's where passion meets perseverance, right? I'm going to overcome it anyway. I might as well go hard and do it, right? I might as well do everything I possibly can to achieve it. I don't need to, this helps. But if I never meet the person on the other side of the room that raised their hand high, I can raise my hand high. I can figure out how I can do that. I can read a book about it. There is a book by Angela Duckworth, by the way, called Grit. I can learn. I can be. But I have to know who I am, so you have to start with your story, y'all. Don't run from your story. Embrace your story. Know who you are, know where you want to be, right? And be willing to do everything that it possibly takes to get there. You have to be willing to outwork everybody. Everybody. And that's whether it's applying for that job or, where you are currently, or whether, I tell my son, he's 16 years old, if he decided to flip burgers, you better be the best burger flipper out there. because you never know where that type of skill set will take you. I have him hand wash dishes every day, y'all. He's like, Mama, but there's a dishwasher. Nah, bro, you're gonna wash these dishes because I wanna see how much elbow grease you're gonna put into every dish. And how much love, how much do you really love me? Because there's a virus out here. Like, are you gonna make sure that these dishes are very, very clean for me? How much of you are you going to put into everything you do? That's grit. So what was the first thing you have to have?
Growth mindset.
Growth mindset. The second thing you have to have? Grit. And again, this is all about making 100K without a degree. It's not about the 100K, and it's not about even not having the degree. It's just about what can I do to get to where I want to be, even though it doesn't seem possible today. The third is advocating for yourself. You know, it's trendy out here to say, oh, I need a mentor. I need somebody to teach me. Or I just need an advocate. Or even in my space, I need an ally. Right? What if you don't have one? What do you do if you don't have one? What if they don't get it? What if they don't think it's possible? What if they don't hear you? Or what if they had that conversation, oh yeah, I'm an ally, because it sounds cute, I got the t-shirt, I'm out here marching with y'all. But when you go to work on Monday, girl, where you at when I need to have this conversation? Right? It's gotta be in you. It's gotta be in you. You've gotta be the mentor. Even when you need to be menteed, you've gotta be the mentor. You've gotta figure out, what do I need to learn? Who do I need to talk to? What book do I need to read? And you've gotta be the one to say, you know what, I can look at this summary. I can do this. I can apply. I can do my Googles on LinkedIn, do my LinkedIning, right? Find out who the hiring manager is, find out who the recruiter is. Let me see who I'm connected with. Let me see who my friend is connected with. Let me just send the message. Let me go to Boomerang and have a coffee with that particular person. I can build a relationship. I can advocate for myself because I know it's possible. And guess what? If they sit down with me and they say, you know what, Blaire, you don't have, exactly what we're looking for right now. That's cool. What do I need? And what do I need to get there in the next 6 months? What do you need to see from me? And go do it. Go do it. Because we're all capable. If you are willing and able to come to this room and take notes, we've got to be willing to take action. All right, what was the first thing again? What do you need to be able to do? Exhibit a growth mindset. The second thing? Grit. Got to be gritty. And that third thing? Say it louder.
Advocate for yourself.
Advocate for yourself. And another part of that is just being vulnerable. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's even okay to say, I don't feel it yet. I don't know if I'm a firm believer in fake it till you make it. Nah, just, be that person. And if you don't feel like you're that person yet, again, ask the question. Meet the person. Read the book. Watch the TED Talk. Get a coach. Whatever you need to do. Okay? So the fourth thing that I would say after advocating for yourself is take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Because it's hard out here being gritty. Because when you're gritty, you'll be able to, and you'll be willing to do things, you give your best shit away for free. So that's in Russell Simmons' Do You. It's an old book. Donald Trump wrote the foreword, so don't hold it against me. But it's a good book. It's a good book, especially if you like hip hop. So if you're into that. But Russell Simmons, anyone familiar with Russell Simmons? No? They call him the godfather of hip hop. He's responsible for bringing Run DMC to mainstream. That's his brother. Well, Rev Run is. But he talks a lot about, in that particular book, like how they got started and things of that nature. But he said, give your best shit away for free. And I lived by that for a long time, right? So I would be willing to speak for free, no shame. But still do it sometimes. But I would be willing to speak for free, but that's how you build value. I'd be willing to coach folks for free. I'd be willing to give image consulting for free. I'd be willing to give advice about investing and trading and creating budgets. I do all of those things now, hashtag for a fee, but if you need me, let me know. But it was about giving those best things away for free so people could see your value. But when it comes to taking care of yourself, you will sometimes allow people to take advantage of that. So you have to be able to go back to number 3, which is advocate for yourself. And when you get to that point, you can say, you know what? I'm in a position where if I'm freelance, hey, I know before I was charging for this, but now this is X amount of dollars. Or I know before you would take that particular job for, 70K, but now I'm asking for 80K, or commission, or MBOs. I'm willing to negotiate for my worth, right? So you have to get to that point where you're taking care of yourself, or you will be taken advantage of. If you don't have a dream for yourself, you'll be building somebody else's. Well, I know y'all know the rest of that. If you don't have your own dream, you'll be building someone else's dream. So you have to know what your story is, who you are at your core. That'll help you network as well. When I go to people, I can tell them 2 things. Well, I can tell them several things, obviously. But I can tell them a couple of things. Hey, my name is Blaire. I'm on the visionary squad for PDX Women of Color, and we focus on creating meaningful experiences for the self-expression of Black and brown women. Boom. Right, well, right? Or I can say I'm the Director of Sales Enablement for ZoomInfo, powered by Discover.org, and we focus on providing the best resources and initiatives and tools for our go-to-market roles so that they can be successful and sell our data effectively, efficiently, and often. I know my elevator pitch. I know who I am. And I will apply for a VP role if I wanted to. That's another part of being gritty. So going back to, what is that, number 2? Well, it's actually, I lie. It's number 1, growth mindset. So one of the things that I leveraged LinkedIn for a very long time is I'm looking for what's out there. So I'm looking not only for the role that I want, but I'm looking for probably 2 roles up. And I'm reading the job description. Can y'all guess what I'm doing with the job description after that? Anyone guess? What do you think I do with that?
Print it somewhere.
What was that?
Print it somewhere.
Print it? Okay. From the back. What do y'all think I would do with that job description once I had that?
Customize or reply based on it.
Customize what?
Reply based on it. Your resume or a cover letter, you want to directly cover the points that are important to the person that's looking for the job.
Okay, so I can take some of those points, I can put them in my resume, or I can put them in a letter if I'm speaking to someone. That could be. What
You
else?
use the things to achieve your goals. You set those marks as your goals, and you go after those things.
I give it up for this young lady in front. Y'all were right too, but that's I go learn the things.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah.
What she said?
Oh, yeah. Or actually, would you speak up and would you repeat it?
Yeah.
Will you stand up for us? Would you mind?
Hi, I'm Leah. So she uses them as milestones. So she takes those and makes them her goals and then gets after whatever it is. Like if it's a certification or like whatever sort of thing that it wants from you.
Yep.
Finance degree, whatever. She'll go
You got
get it.
And so it may not be the degree part, but I will go learn all the things. And so once I learn all the things, then I start doing those things at my current job. So if I'm looking at a VP role and I've learned how to be a VP and I'm a director and I'm walking in every day doing VP shit, guess what, y'all? I'm a VP. And I don't need anyone to tell me that. But I am going to need you to start paying me for it because now I know how to do it. So now I have the experience before I had to have the title. Now I've shown that I'm gritty because I was willing to do it without necessarily needing the pay, but now you're going to have to give me my coins. Because now I won't say I've beat the system, but I've gotten the experience before the degree. So the folks that are out there that are getting the degree, spending their time doing that, they're spending their time getting the degree. But I have the experience, so now I have a proven track record. And now I'm passionate about it, right? Can you tell? Now I'm gritty. So that's the other thing. They see this. Oh, you're willing to do that without being told? Willing to do it without being told so I can work autonomously, right? I'm excited and passionate about what I do. I'm vulnerable so I can tell my story in an interview. I tell my story anywhere and everywhere, right? Those are things that help you stand out. I don't know how many interviews I have had, y'all, where I say, so tell me about yourself. And they tell me what's on their resume. And if they slide me their resume, guess what I'll do? I'm gonna slide it right on back. Will you tell me about yourself? What brings you here today? And I'm sure I asked a couple of you all that today. What brings you here today? Are you interested? Well, I saw you. Tell me about what that you heard on the podcast was interesting. And some folks, what was your name again, sir?
Daniel.
Daniel already knew. He was like, hey, I listened to your podcast and it was good. And these were the things that I pulled from it. These are the things that I'm working on mindfulness with my folks. Like, he knew his stuff. He knew what he wanted to say, right? And there were several people that came up to me and they were able to do the same thing. Be prepared. Know your own story. If you don't know your own story, then someone will create a story for you. Or someone will tell your story. You want to be able to tell your advocates, once you get them, what that is so they can sell on your behalf. Right? So making 100K without a degree. It ain't that hard, y'all. And 100K is not a lot of money. Trust me. It's all about what you truly believe. So what are the 4 things that you need to do to get there? Have a
Growth mindset.
and you have to be gritty. And the third is you have to be able to advocate for yourself. And the last thing, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, y'all. Mental health is so, so important. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Don't let anyone tell your story. Share your story, be your story, and be the person that you've been called to be. That's all I have for you today. All right? Okay, cool. Good, excellent.
All right, guys. One more round of applause. Like, that was I always like to do some takeaways with that, and with every speaker, and kind of talk about it, answer some questions, and anything else with Blaire. One of those things that I've learned over the last couple years that she said, and something that is one of the hardest transitions, who considers themselves a high-end expert within their field? That says, I know, it doesn't have to be the whole thing. I'm really good at this. Like, I could go in tomorrow and do X thing. How many people have that one thing that they can do no matter what? They can wake up and do it tomorrow. Okay, how many people have had a friend ask them to do that thing for free? Right? Okay, so one thing that I want to take away from what she said is exactly what, get paid to do those things. Honestly, friend or not, the friends, if they're asking you to do it for free, guess what? They're not a friend. Like, you've earned the right to charge for these things that you do. You've earned that right. You've put in the time. I used to, for a long time, I started a side consultancy and do coaching and mentoring. And for a long time, I didn't charge anyone. I was like, what am I doing? Why don't I? And someone was like, you need to get paid for that. You put in 10 years of work. You put in the time to learn these things. Your time is valuable. And I was like, you're right. It is. So I started charging. And I'll tell you what happens. Once you do that, you start getting some clients. And it doesn't have to be for anything. And it doesn't have to be some outrageous fee. But I'll tell you what, the people that I work with that pay me to give my advice a lot of times, and this group aside, and it's always that thing. It's like this group is free for everybody. For everybody, it's free. But on the side, if I'm taking my time away from my kiddos, my spouse, my family, my friends, that's time that I'm not gonna ever get back. I'm gonna get paid for it. I put in the time to learn this stuff. I'm not gonna give it away for free. So think about that. Friends will pay you. All you gotta do is say, and again, if you don't charge, then be like, hey, hey, sorry, I can't help you. And if they leave on you, what's that tell you? I have this conversation with my littles right now. My 13-year-old's having some issues because he's 13. So, but he's like, Dad, I'm doing this thing, and he gets in an argument. I'm like, well, if they don't agree with the way that you feel on things, are they really your friend? If they can't sit there and say, hey, we may disagree, and then they're not your friend anymore, were they ever a friend in the first place? Same thing with the services that you provide, right? So, Any questions for Blaire?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for talking. I'm often trying to give advice to younger adults, age 17, 28. And something I keep asking about, I don't have an answer for it. The reply to this is great advice, but if someone without a goal or a passion, I'm not sure where they would go with that. So how, and these people I talk to, they don't seem to say, I've got a goal or a passion or anything interesting to me.
Yeah.
How do you acquire that so we can apply what you say?
So that's a great question, because I do have a 16-year-old who I've kind of had to, I do this because I want to say mold, but I've helped him uncover his greatness, because we're all born with that greatness. So for him, for that particular age group, I ask him, what does he love? Like, what do you wake up thinking about? What do you go to bed thinking about? And even at that age, trust me, like they have a thing, even if it's video games. Seriously, whatever it is, you nurture that thing. And that may not be the thing, we all know, because our thing right now may not be our thing in 5, 10 years. But you nurture that thing, because what it teaches them is to nurture a gift and to get after something that is important to them. And as they go along that time and that journey, they take those particular skills or those characteristics and they can apply it to what they discover along the way. It's like, oh, you know what? I thought I was really, my son, he's smart, he's short, obviously, he's fast, and he's really talented at basketball. And he played for a very long time. There was a summer where he stopped playing. All the other kids went through a growth spurt and they were in the gym. So when he went back to school, guess what happened? He wasn't ready for that. They were dunking and he was definitely not. And it drained his confidence. And so he didn't know what to do. But then he was starting to draw, well, actually, that's not even true. Everywhere we go, he would look at someone's shoes and say, those are the SB45s. I totally made that up, I don't know. Those are the Nike whatever. He knew what all those kicks were. And I said, all right, let's see what we could do with that. And so from that, he's decided he wants to be a footwear designer. And even beyond that, we've stopped saying Nike designer. That's one of the reasons we moved out here. We started saying footwear designer, and now we just say designer because he's seen Virgil Abloh. Is anyone familiar with Virgil Abloh? He's a young black man who was designing for Kanye West for a while. Then I think he was like the head of Louis Vuitton. Now he has the one of the most luxurious or profitable luxury brands, Off-White. And it's even more luxurious, I guess, than Gucci or whatever the case may be. And that is who he looks to. And it came from ball. But we knew what he was passionate about. We knew what he liked. All right, how can we continue to groom that? So that is what I would say for young folks. It's kind of the same for adults as well. But with we have more resources. So whether it's career coaching or coaching, you can come to either of us, I'm sure, for that, or you can find a coach. And you can start having more conversations about your skill set within your career. You can start looking at the trends, your patterns in your career, like what types of roles. I think we were talking about it a little bit. It's not about the title. It's about the stuff. That's why I always go to the job description. What are the things that I can do here and what am I interested in? Do those two things kind of help? If not, we can definitely we can talk a little bit more.
I'll actually piggyback off exactly what Blaire just said. And I love the example with your son. And it's so on my LinkedIn, on my profile, it basically says that I'm a professional puzzle. I don't even remember puzzle solver, right? Okay. So what I essentially do is I take pieces with the first thing that I ask people. Same thing with the 16-year-old or my 13-year-old or 11-year-old. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the age. I mean, I have clients that have been 50s and 60s. It doesn't matter the age. What I do is put a puzzle together, the puzzle of life, right? Not to get like hugely and theoretical about it, but I take the puzzle of life and I start taking. I don't like actual puzzles. My family does. They do puzzle nights, and I go and don't. I watch because I can't do it. But what I do is I'll sit there and say, okay, tell me what you did when you were 5. What'd you do when you were 8?
Yep.
What'd you do when you were 12, 15, 21, whatever the age? What were you doing at that point in time in your life? What was going on? Okay, what made you happy? Same thing, right? Yep. And so what they'll start doing there, trust me, over a length of time, there is a theme that occurs. Yep. And maybe that theme changes. Maybe it's here and then, oh, no. But typically, people, we are sitting there, and it's something that, it will be similar. I sat there and told myself, man, I really hate sales. No, I don't. I've been doing it my whole life. I love sales. I love aspects of other things, but I really like being in front and speaking and being in front of and doing, having that kind of, that grit of being a salesman, right? I do like it. So there's always been aspects of it. I've gone away from here and there, but it's always teetered around this sales thing, whether it's like direct sales, consumer sales, anything like that. But it's all salesy. That's what I drive from, once I figure it out. So that's what we do, is if you can sit there and talk to somebody and find out, what are those supposed to be? What is the common thing? And you'll find a baseline and go build off that. And then usually the sparks just are, oh yeah, I like this and I like that, and then they shoot up. So.
Theme of life.
Yep. Any other questions? We'll take one more question if we got it. Jared?
What drew you in particular to discover or Zoom Info, this company way out west here? There must have been a draw besides, or was it just your son's passion for design?
I would say probably 3 things. The first one, I was dating someone on the West Coast, so that's helpful. I was like, oh yeah, I'm closer. Didn't work out. It's fine. That worked out. I was looking for the next level in my career as well. So my name means wanderer of the plain at Blaire. So I love to travel. I don't mind changing and taking risks. So I'd spent 12 years of my life in Dallas. I spent, I believe, 12 years of my life in, or 11 in, 12 in Louisville, and then 11 in Atlanta. And I was like, I'm ready for something new. So I was ready to take a leap. Again, it was the next level of my career as a director, so that was great. And yeah, my son, it was between AWS, LinkedIn, and here. And I asked him, which city would he prefer to live in? And he was like, well, let's be close to Nike. So that was that.
All right, guys. Oh, yeah, one more question?
It might be hard to hear. I was curious, in those moments of fear, what are some tools that you used to overcome that mindset, that fear mindset, to shift it back?
That was a good one. That was a really good one. Thank you for acknowledging the fact that, yeah, I'm fearful too. I mean, I love it. I embrace it. So I would say for me, when it comes to being fearful, I do have a great support system. So being able to tell them, and they're always like, oh, you're afraid? Really? Yeah. But being human, so being vulnerable and sharing those moments. I'm a very spiritual person too. I believe in a higher power. So, I take it to prayer. I take it to meditation. And I go into it, and I will say, I am fearful, and please grant me with the peace, please grant me with the serenity that I need to be able to take this next step forward. I know I can't see the staircase, but I'm willing to take the step. So I would say that's a big part of it. And I would say the last thing is, I just see so many people doing things. My best friend became a millionaire trading Forex in the past 2 years. And I love my friend, he's pretty amazing, but I could do that. If he can do it, I can do it. So that's how I think about it. I think we're just all people that are really great at what we do, but there are some people who are willing to go the extra mile. And so if I go the extra mile, why can't I do it too? So that helps me overcome fear. I hope that answers you. Thanks. Sorry, we have another question? No?
Yep, after this, last one, and then we'll do some networking after that. Yep, got it.
Last question.
Thank you so much for allowing me to get a little extra time. So of course I'm inspired by people sharing their stories. I'm actually working with Dr. Ona Brown. I don't know if you know her. She's daughter of Les Brown, and the Les Brown.
Oh, really? Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
So I'm working with her on mastering my story. And similar to you having had these hardships and disruptions, throughout your life that you have to conquer, we all have our own challenges that we've conquered. So I'm a certified professional development and leadership coach, and I have tools that really help the individual learn about themselves,
Yes.
really discover themselves and find those hidden talents that we forget because our life takes us in a certain path and then we know what we do. So, but we don't necessarily know who we are. And Jay Shetty, very well-known motivational speaker, says you cannot possibly know what you want in life until you figure out who you are.
Yes.
And so that is very important. That's how I help my clients to really discover who they are, what is like the best fit for them. And I do it with analytical tools that are scientifically based. So 30 years of scientific research, just on those tools. So that's what I have. And I just would encourage all of you to really go back and just think of really who you are, what's important to you, and if you can find those kinds of tools. Or if you want to talk to me, I'm not trying to pitch you, and I'm trying to help people in the same way to discover some of those things. So you just wanted to, because I defeated poverty. I broke the chains of poverty growing up. I entered the workforce at 14. I did what I had to do to get out of that. But not everybody has that same type of strength. And it takes a lot to find it.
Yes.
So it's not an automatic, you just go tell yourself, okay, I'm going to be strong. If you're shy, you can't tell yourself, well, you have to figure
There's
out
definitely
how to
some,
get there.
yeah, there's some work that goes into it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for, sharing congratulations for your success.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming this morning. The next, in 2 weeks, we will be back here, and we do a workshop on resumes and cover letters and basically talking about the job search and the troubles that you're having, so we get into the individual aspects of those things. Please join us. There's a podcast, Get Hired Cascade Talks, and all the major things. I don't know how to do too much. I'm new to the podcast thing, but it's out there on LinkedIn. Find it on there. It's Spotify, iTunes, all that crap. So it's all there. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.